Okay, what we got here is we have our 4 roasts all ready to go. These two seem to be the bigger two, so when we wind up putting these on the smoker, these two are going to wind up on the top rack. In my particular smoker, the water pan is on the bottom. Actually, in all smokers, the water pan is on the bottom. The water pan is not to dissipate water into the meat to braise it. The water pan is there to regulate temperature. Otherwise, the fire will just burn, or the electric heat will just burn, and it'll just go up. What happens is that heat comes up, hits that water. The water absorbs so much of the energy of that heat. I don't know if you've seen the movie Volcano, but it talks about how much energy it takes to raise water 1 degree. When you have a water pan, the first thing you're going to heat is that water. And when that water gets warm, then it'll let it go around. But it's really cool. It regulates temperature. Anyway, these are Boston butt pork butts. Now earlier we talked about the cut of meat. There is something called a picnic shoulder. That will probably work too. Boston butts are available at Sam's Club. From what I understand, they're available at Costco. Costco, however, from what I understand, is not bone-in. As you can hear, there's a bone stuck in here. And tomorrow you're going to see how magic that is. And on this one, the bone's on the other side. I put one each way on both these trays because I'm going to show you something kind of cool here in a little bit. You want to look for a lot of fat in your meat. What is going to happen as this thing slowly cooks is this fat is going to melt. And when it does, it's going to let all that muscle go. The secret to pulled pork is getting this to at least 190 degrees. We're going to cook to 195. But you want to get this to 190 degrees minimum. 195 is better, because what happens at 190 degrees is all that stuff just turns to jelly and it just disappears. And then all this meat that's in here will just fall apart. And all that fat will be distributed. We're going to talk more about that tomorrow. But the goal, and what we're going to talk about when I get the camera back, is we're going to talk about temperature and all that other stuff. But for now, look for lots of fat. The other feature on every Boston butt is this is a fat cap. Now, Sam's is wonderful in that these fat caps are pretty much trimmed. I've seen a fat cap that covers the entire base, and it can be fairly substantial. So what you want to do is, you've got a lot of fat. Now, right here I got a lot of fat. Take your knife and just kind of trim it off. Just kind of cut into it and just kind of trim it off. You're not going to eat this anyway, okay? Now, I normally wouldn't cut this, but I just wanted to show you how to do that. For these particular ones, like I said, there's a lot of them have an entire fat cap. If you buy them at Meijer, this fat cap will be complete. I think Jewel sells these things now too, for those of you in Chicago. So that's how you would trim off the fat cap. You don't really need to do it on the Sam's Club ones. That's part of the reason why I like going there. You also see you got a little fat here. If you want to trim that a little bit, you can feel free to trim that. I'm not going to do that. Okay, so we have 4 of them. The step that I skipped that you didn't see was me cutting open the packets and then rinsing them with cold water. Earlier I showed you paper towels. You want to pat these dry.